Okay. Take a Japanese break and then come back to my chair.
You guys leave me around. I'm not around. You know my gallet. Okay.
Super coming. That's good.
Yeah, man.
Walk around and get these people.
Well, and like when you're especially in restaurants, that's their hospitality. It's like, and you're just like, especially if you're like in the really?
But it must have changed over time.
Well, that's good. I think. But still, it's hard. Okay, sit here.
Go ahead. Yes. Go ahead.
So I was down in Panhandle of Florida last month. I'm pretty great. I know. And it's a lot further north, too. We did not get particularly warm weather.
We had a wonderful March in South Florida.
Oh my gosh, you are so welcome.
We're so glad.
One of those. One
During that time, my sister came back, but she rents a condo. She was there the whole month of March. Then my son left, and her son, my
Okay,
sister's
folks,
son,
welcome
came down and
back.
stayed with us. So we were really
I think
busy.
most of you
But it was
back in the room,
beautiful.
although it's hard to tell. Take it you guys are filling in those seats over there somewhere. All right. You
Yeah.
can stay right there, no worries. No worries. So what we're going to take just a few minutes to do is just to have a large group sharing like we did earlier today. And so I'll be coming around with this mic and just anything that maybe was mentioned or talked about in your group that you think, hey, this would be good to offer up to the full group as far as an insight or personal reflection. I'd ask you not to share other people's reflections necessarily. That's their choices, and I really hope that you can respect that. So, would anybody like to begin?
We talked about how it's when you're receiving hospitality, it's all and wrestling with giving hospitality. It's a give and take between the two of them when it's at its best. And we saw that in how Naomi was trying to be hospitable by helping Ruth feel more comfortable with the whole situation. But how Ruth ultimately was trying to walk with Naomi in her situation as well.
was able to share with the group that I really don't like the scripture about Simon giving Mary on this wonderful day of celebration, Simon giving her this prophecy that pierces her heart with the sword, that she wasn't prepared for that. But I was able to liken that to an experience of my own when my son came out as gay. Certainly it pierced my heart. And for years, I kept that, that piercing, that sadness, the process of accepting a new son, who he is. I kind of kept that to myself. But I was able to come out to my little group here today and tell them I'm a mom of a gay son, and that led me to a group called Out Catholics in Philadelphia. And Out Catholics wondered, what will it be like if I go to their meeting as an older woman, a straight older woman? How will that go? Will I be accepted? Will I be turned away? And I went, and I received radical hospitality. And I would consider, besides Heart of Mary, my Marianist group, I would consider Out Catholics of Philadelphia my other fellowship group, because I meet Jesus there and see the church underground, the church exiled, is where the life of the church is really happening. So, I found that there was this mutuality where many of them had been rejected by their mother, where I received them as whole people, and they also received me as the mom of a son that is also gay. So it was the beginning of a new chapter in my life, and I think I've been able to add something to that group.
I've been reflecting on how we're talking about receiving hospitality from strangers, and some powerful experiences I've had, and I have thought that one of the synonyms of strangers in my life I would call guardian angels. People who come into your life with a resource and that's unexpected, unplanned, and just full of grace and value to you. Acceptance and awareness of your need, and I think we all have experiences of that, if not every week, very often.
We got talking about a lot of things in our last group, but one of the things that came up is that we see a number of people these days that will get involved a little bit but don't want to be involved in the long run, and they don't want to be involved with a big group of people in terms of making a commitment to the future. And we think as Marianists we have a real commitment to community and to the future. So when we were looking at Anna's thing about what are you praying and fasting for, we said that would be it, but we think it's important to pray and to fast and to act.
One of the things I shared with my group, which was with Ruth this last time, is that I identify a lot with Naomi in terms of that process of accepting or receiving hospitality. It is first and foremost a rejection of hospitality. And I think of the times that I've needed help or people have extended things my way, I verbally will try and say no first, and then physically as well, not showing up or scooting out before hospitality can be extended. And then eventually, like Naomi, relenting. and saying, okay, Ruth, if you want to come, I guess you can. The other thing that I shared in my group, and the first question there is, in the book of Ruth, we learn about Ruth's willingness to sacrifice for the sake of love. And at least in my experience, it's sometimes when people extend hospitality towards me that I recognize how deep and profound the relationship is. And it may not be until that point that I actually recognize it. And I don't know if that's just so naive and not like really catching on, or if it's because I just didn't know we were there. And then all of a sudden I recognize that I'm loved by them and that I love them as well, which is really beautiful for me. A lot of participation on this side, folks. Not competition, but it is.
One of the things we talked about in our last group was when we are open and authentic in receiving hospitality, we are transformed, but that transformation actually leads into us offering hospitality more. And to people maybe that we wouldn't have originally. So quite a few of us had experiences in foreign countries where we had received radical hospitality. So I lived in India for a summer and lived with various hosts, and they have lots of cultural traditions where their guests are just such a gift to them. So like literally people would wash our feet, take our shoes off and wash our feet when we entered their homes and things like that, which are just very countercultural to American culture. And just how that, that transforms your heart, that makes you think differently. And then when you come home and share that experience with others, or I just think like at my grocery store, there's a man who's Indian there, and now every time I see him, I talk to him about home and how that actually helps me offer hospitality to people I wouldn't have originally.
Sure you want to break the ice?
I'll break the ice.
I was reminded in the discussion about Susan and I discussed way back when we were in Michigan, this was the late 70s, beginning the divorce Catholic ministry there. And I remember that it was difficult for many people to come because there was a sense, well, it could have been a number of things, but it was like admitting failure and maybe admitting that we haven't lived up to what the church expects us to live up to, that sort of thing. I mentioned that more than one person shared that before they came to the group, they came to the meeting but only got to the parking lot and then went home. Eventually, obviously, came back because they were able to share that. But the search, as I would put it, for a non-judgmental presence. Because I think that's what people feared so much, is that, yeah, you're doing this, but you're still judging me. I'm still not as whole as you are. And so I think that's a real key dynamic to keep in mind in terms of this whole issue of hospitality.
Well, if nobody has anything further to share, perhaps this is just a good time to, 15 minutes early, but this is good. To go on to our break. We have an extra 15 minutes. Yeah, that's good, Ann. That's good. We're going to be, what's that? We're going to be going to dinner at 5 p.m. It's 3:15 now. And on this break, we again invite you to pick up a resource over there if you'd like to read it. Gabby, I think you're supposed to be doing this, not me, right?
I can, but I can. Okay. So this is a break, obviously, but it's also really time for reflection. So I would invite you to please keep this floor and the floor below us quiet. We have art materials for people to pray with if they would like. We have these books. Some people I know like to have reflection maybe with one other person or a group. I would invite you that if you do that you go either to the basement or go outside, or there's some spiritual direction rooms down here too, just so that people have quiet space, because as a reminder, not everybody has a room here, so not everyone can go to a room for quiet. So if you could respect that quiet space, that would be really wonderful. And feel free to spread out, take a nap, nap a couch, or whatever you want to do. Go for a walk. The time is yours. And we will meet in the dining room at 5 p.m. And then we have Mass on the schedule for Palm Sunday at 6:30. So, and that will be, we can announce this later again too, but Mass will be in the room downstairs, right? Not in the chapel, because the chapel is not quite big enough. So we'll give you more directions later, but that's good for now. So enjoy your break and your praying, and we'll see you at 5.
One of the rooms over here that Michelangelo room.
Okay.
Is reserved. So whenever you're ready, I'll be over there. Okay. It's the last one on the